Hi, it's the educator Jeff Shire. Waiting 4 to 6 weeks for a new mattress. Is that the new norm? Well, unfortunately, right now it is, and I'll explain why. But first off, what do you think of the new hats? Not too shabby, right? I like them. They're pretty nice. So, why is it taking so long to get a new mattress that you might have ordered? Well, it comes down to a few different things. There's a shortage of the components used to make the mattress, and then there's also an overwhelming demand for orders at the mattress manufacturer. And you combine these with a few other issues, and they just can't keep up with things that are going on right now. On the componentry end of the spectrum, the big issue that we have is the shortage of the non-woven fabric that's used for fabric encased spring units, which are very common in the industry. We also use that fabric for the backing of some of the border material and in some of the pillow top material that we use within a mattress. Now, that material has been correctly so prioritized to make surgical masks, surgical gowns, the different face masks that are out there, and also for the antibacterial wipes that none of us can find in the grocery stores, right? And that's a worldwide issue. They're trying to find different sources for this and different versions of it, but the industry that produces those, they're working 24/7 right now and they can't keep up. They're trying to look for other methods of production, or the industry's looking for other sources, but they can't just turn 180 degrees immediately and come up with all the material that we need right now. On top of that, we have some issues with fabric in the industry. The fabric mills can't even get enough of the yarn that they need to make the ticking or the covering for our products here. And we combine this with the problems that we have with labor in those factories right now. Many of them have a labor shortage that's still going on. Many people chose not to re-enter the workforce and stay home and collect some of that extra unemployment. And then the people that they brought in, they had to retrain, and the retraining makes things a little bit slower. These people aren't as skilled as the people that they replaced, so production is a little bit slower, even if they are at full force right now. So we combine these things, and we just can't get enough componentry to the mattress manufacturers. Now, the mattress manufacturers, they have their own issues right now. Nationally, everybody shut down, like mid to late March. Mattress stores were not considered essential, although I'll argue with that. Try to go 2 days without sleep, and then you get back to me and let me know what you think. But everybody pretty much had to shut down, and then about middle May, everybody was able to open up again. So the mattress manufacturers were hit with just this tsunami of orders, just overwhelmed with orders. I spoke with one mattress company owner, and he said that even if we didn't have the issues with the labor force shortage and the shortage of componentry, we would have never been able to have met the demand of just this influx of orders that were all backlogged when everybody was shut down across the country. So we have that, and then that is compounded by the fact that they can't even get enough components on the inside of the factory to make the mattresses. So that's a real problem as far as that goes. And again, it's just a lot of these unfortunate unintended consequences of things that are going on with the shutdown and some of the orders and rules that are passed to deal with the coronavirus right now. And that's the world that we live in at this time. So they're doing their best to keep up, but one of the mattress innerspring companies, and one of the largest ones in America, their warehouse is almost empty right now. And certain designs of innersprings, they're even not producing for 2 to 3 weeks down the road to make up for some of the more common designs that they have to create for people. So the mattress companies themselves, they often don't know what they're going to get until the semi-truck arrives from the innerspring company, and they see what they're getting and what they've been shorted. And that way they determine what they're able to make that day. Even some of the mattress companies now that have innerspring machines, manufacturing machines within the factory, while they can make the innersprings in-house, they're still lacking the covering to make the springs themselves. So it's a problem all across the industry, and it's just something that I've been told from some of the people I really respect within the industry. They don't think it's really going to get much better, closer to the end of the year, once we try to catch up with this demand and find other sourcing for some of these materials. Which brings us back to you, the consumer. What's happening when you place an order and you haven't heard from your retailer for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? What's going on there? Well, most retailers, if they're better retailers, they're going to be in contact with the mattress manufacturer and find out, hey, when is this product coming in, without trying to bother the manufacturer too much. But the component suppliers, let's say like some of the innerspring companies, if they don't know when they're going to be producing their product, and they don't know how much they're going to be able to ship out on a day-to-day basis, then the mattress manufacturing company, they don't know what they're able to produce. because they don't know what they're going to get, because the component manufacturers aren't relaying that information to them because they don't know what they're going to make, so they don't know what they can ship. And the mattress industry is generally a pretty much just-in-time mattress manufacturing process, right? But now they've become what I call a just-in-time, just what can we make this morning process, where they'll have their orders listed out and they'll make what they can depending upon what components they received on the semi-trucks the night before or even that morning from their different component suppliers. And this is the reason why there's the delay. And it's not that necessarily the mattress company isn't relaying the information to the retail stores, hey, you're going to get your stuff on this date. They don't know when they're going to get this stuff sometimes, because they don't know when they're going to get the components and when they'll be able to make the mattress to ship to the retail store. So it's not that necessarily that the retail stores are being non-communicative with you. Quite often they don't know. Like here in my store, I'll know the day before when I'm going to get my products, and even then I'm not quite sure exactly what's going to be on that truck, but they'll tell me, hey, we were able to get some components in, we've made 2 or 3 of the orders that you have backlogged in the system, and we're going to see you tomorrow morning. Where before, everything happened, like in February, every Tuesday at 8 a.m. I was going to get a truck from one factory, and noon on Wednesday I was going to get a truck from another factory, and it was like clockwork. But it just doesn't work that way right now, and that's just unfortunate. But that's what we're having to deal with. The good news is we're still getting product and things are being produced, and all these companies are finding ways to work around it. But it's going to be a little bit slow for a while. And as an aside, I want to be serious about one thing, and here's how I let you know I'm serious. I'm taking off my hat, so this is my serious face here. Let me get my hair much better, right, back in shape. If you're waiting for a mattress and you go into a store, don't crawl over the back of the retail sales associate and yell at them. I mean, they really don't have much to do with this. There's not much that they can do to get the product in sooner, rather than later. They're doing their best. If you go in and scream at somebody like that, all that you're accomplishing there is affirming the fact that you need some tolerance and some patience. A little bit of perspective with what's going on here right now. Again, the better stores are going to relate to you what they know as soon as they know it, but they're the last ones to know in this chain, and quite often they don't know until a day or two before they're going to get the product. So when you're out there buying a mattress, unless the product is in a store's warehouse or in their back room and you know that it's there immediately, expect to wait 4 to 6 weeks for a new mattress right now. Now, you may get a little bit sooner. Chances are things could maybe even get a little bit worse depending upon the components that you use. If they're a little more specialized, they may take an even longer time to get there, but you will get there. One of the things I say is that, what a great country we live in. If your biggest complaint and concern is that you're waiting a few extra weeks to get a mattress versus what you had 3 or 4 months ago, that's not a real bad problem to have. And I understand in this day and age, I'm the same way. I want to get my stuff right away. Heck, our Costco right now still doesn't have toilet paper. What's going on with that? I could understand if we have a pandemic with irritable bowel syndrome, but that's not what we have right now, right? Come on, people, stop hoarding this stuff. But, we learn to live. We learn to get what we can with that stuff. And I understand. It's the same thing with the mattress. You finally made the decision to buy one. You want to get it right away. But it might take a little while right now. And I would just expect it to be this way with all the people I talk to, through the end of the year. And if it gets better sooner, hey, we're all better for that. I'll feel a lot better. Fewer phone calls I'll have to make to people to let them know, hey, it's a few more weeks to get your mattress. But I just want you to have that perspective and that knowledge, and there's a reason why things are taking longer than they are. And just go into it with that knowledge when you're purchasing a mattress. It's more like when you buy some custom furniture, you get some solid oak furniture, it takes 8 to 12 weeks. Well, right now, mattresses are sort of like that, not quite as long, but you're going to have to wait a little time if it's not in stock, okay?